There's one other aspect of this that depends on the owner, but a lot of times it's referenced as SDE, seller's discretionary earnings or income or expenses even. The owner liked to do massive pizza parties every single Friday. Well, it's not critical to the operations of the business or the team. The owner bought a jet ski to do some promotion on the lake. I don't know. Those would also potentially be added back, depending on exactly what it is. The owner decided to pay himself $600,000 in salary, but really for that role, it was $120,000 salary.
Right.
So those are also things to be aware of. A lot of times they're not necessarily going to be added back, but they're taken into the calculation by the people that buy. And typically the people that buy see that as an opportunity of, hey, we don't have to pay that much and that's extra profit, whatever.
Well, they'll you're at a really good point. You're one step ahead of me at this point, but let's just say you've got your earnings figured out, your EBITDA, and your profit and loss shows you made 100,000. Your EBITDA shows you made 200,000. Okay. So you're going to use 200,000 and you're going to multiply it times some multiple, which we use for, and you're going to get $800,000. What you're talking about and just referenced is absolutely part of negotiations. There's your starting point, a multiple and EBITDA. You're correct. And I think it happens every single time.
Yeah.
The seller goes in or has his representation go in and say, look, I have life insurance and you won't have that expense. So my profit should go up by that much. I bought a jet ski. You don't need that. It'll go up. You can hire my replacement for $100,000 instead of $600,000. And they do that. And they negotiate to make their EBITDA higher. And that's called adjusted EBITDA. But it goes the other way too, right? What happens more often is the owner doesn't pay an appropriate, maybe they're taking $50,000 and they're running a $25 million company. They're taking the rest out as draws. The buyer is going to say, you know what? I cannot replace you for $50,000. It's going to cost $200,000. So they reduce it. So that's what goes on in the negotiations, but you're trying to come up with adjusted in EBITDA. Some of it goes up, some of it adjusts down. So that being a little bit objective, meaning we have a method, a process. There are no laws about it, but that's the process that goes on between buyers and sellers. I want to say one thing here quickly to listeners who might have a piece of paper out and scratching out. Well, first of all, 4 is not necessarily a multiple. That's a nice, nothing special. That's a place to look at it. Companies sell for 2, companies sell for 8. Really, if really hot markets, they sell for 12. I know one industry that was selling at 17 times earnings. But 4 is a place to start. But you sit there and you look at your earnings from last year, you find your amortization, you add that back and you do some back scratching and you go 4 times my earnings is $400,000. Go, hell, my building's worth $2.5 million. Okay. So the first thing is valuation of the business using EBITDA generally does not include real estate.
Yeah.
So that's separate. But here's something to think about. That's your building and you own it. You haven't been paying rent. The buyer's going to buy your business and they're going to have to pay rent. So they're going to reduce your EBITDA by rent, right?
Right.
But let's say you do all that math and you go, my company's worth $400,000. We're going to, oh, good. I don't have to sell my real estate for that. But I've got $2.1 million worth of trucks. Well, guess what? Your business is going to sell as the value of those assets.
Right.
You get either or, because when people buy your company, they're buying everything that it takes. This is a grand statement, but everything that it takes to reproduce the earnings that you're providing. That's your working capital. We'll talk about inventory, your equipment. If you have a bunch of trucks, your trucks.
Your people.
If you have a bunch of debt, your people. Yeah. If you have debt on your trucks, you got to pay it off. You, not them.
Correct.
So maybe we're getting too far afield because we're talking about EBITDA.
No, anyway, it's good. I think the next thing, like you said, 4 is a good multiple. There's other things that go, or the factors that contribute to that multiple is how many customers do you have, how diverse your customers are. If you get a bunch of your revenue from just one customer, then that's seen as a threat or a weakness. But if you have a bunch of diverse customers, no customer provides more than 20% of your revenue, for example, that's really good. If you have a recognizable brand that's distinguished in the marketplace, if you've got proprietary technology, that's a really good one, or potentially really good software. If you have systems in your business, what are some other things that contribute to that multiple?
The number one thing is you dependency.
Sure. Yep.
I mean, that they need to be able to have you walk away and they walk in and the company doesn't even know the difference. Right. You should, now that's what they want.
Mhm.
If that's the case, you're going to get a higher multiple
Yeah.
than if
Another
it's
good one
less.
is contracts. If you have really
Yeah.
good contracts with your
Yeah.
customers, then that's seen as favorable.
Yeah.
A bunch of
The
other
world
things
right
that
now,
can increase or decrease your
right.
multiple. Um,
And those are the things to know about the multiple in your business,
mhm.
because those are the things, if you want to increase your value, those are the things that you need to work on, right?
Yeah.
You want to get your earnings. That something I always say is let's say your operations are the same and therefore the multiple, they're kind of confidence. The multiple is really a confidence that they can replicate the earnings,
Mhm.
right? And then an applied rate to the earnings that they need to make as a return on that, on their investment. But if you want to increase the multiple, you have to increase the buyer's confidence. That's an easy way to say it.
Yeah.
And then you also, if one thing that really matters is if you have above average profits, which is a signal that the systems that you're using to run your business are better
Superior.
than average.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just better than average. That you have growth potential. You would look. One of the acid tests that I have when people talk to me about, can I sell my business or I want to sell my business? First question is, would you buy it? Hell no. That's why I'm trying to get the heck out of here. Right. I don't make any money. I got to say, well, you need to make it where you would buy it. I mean, if you're ready to go, it's not quite that simple. You're tired, but
Yeah.
would you buy it? Do you think you could replicate your earnings indefinitely to justify your investment?
Yeah. No, it's a business worth selling is a business worth keeping, right?